All right, everybody. So I'm going to give my reactions, a breakdown of what I think about Star Trek, the sort of the state of Star Trek a bit, but about what's coming up in Picard season 3, and just some other things as well. And we're going to pause the video a bunch, obviously, because Paramount has all these copyright things and stuff like that. So to try to get through those, we got to pause it. But I want to talk about it anyway to keep this in fair use. I like the beginning of the trailer. Start the thing off with, with the whistle, whatever it's called. I don't even remember, man. I can't remember. There's some things I don't remember, but to signal that there's a visitor on the bridge on the ship. Usually it's an admiral or a captain or somebody else, but a special visitor too. And by the way, I also think that on the official trailer that Paramount uploaded. I noticed that it was very dark. The show seems very dark, but on this trailer that I think some German channel or something posted, it's brightened up, and I don't know why, but for whatever reason, their version is much more colorful and brighter. So that I don't know if that plays into anything, but I'm being told that the show is brighter than you see in the trailer. The trailer is mostly darkness. So, but I can't help it. I am seeing that the show is very dark looking in the trailer. So that is a criticism that's been coming out, but that's certainly not going to hold me down, or it's not going to make me think. I understand that the correlation between the other two seasons of Picard and saying this looks dark as well. But, the other two seasons of Picard were also very bright. There was a lot of bright episodes where they were on the Earth. It was always sunny and bright and whatever. There was Penthe or whatever the hell that planet was where Picard went to see Riker. And you could turn up the lights all you want, but crap is crap, I guess. So we'll see. I love this. I love the hallways. I love right here. The hallways are. I love that they're this sort of bronzy, goldish brown on the top right. Kind of gives you that throwback to the Next Generation. I mean, we still don't have carpets and things like that, but I understand things change. The windows. I think the bridge looks pretty, or this hallway deck looks pretty cool. And I think it's sort of it almost reminds me of Halo. Do you guys remember Halo, the video game, when they remade it, the anniversary remade version, and they spruced everything up a bit? It didn't have the classic, charm of the original game, but it did upgrade things to make things still look like the original, but with all this cool new stuff, and that's essentially what you usually want. So this doesn't bother me. The look really doesn't bother me. It still seems like the starships we know, but just, maybe a little bit bigger, and obviously a little bit more modern looking. A little bit more dystopian, too, because of that, but also that's the way the movies were going. I think a lot of people, too, need to keep in mind that this show is based on being potentially the fifth movie in a way. You know what I mean? It's not potentially the eighth episode of the TV show. It's the fifth movie. And if you remember, the movies were getting progressively more dark and darkly lit and more atmospheric, as opposed to the comfortable-looking TNG set. And I know that TOS did something similar too, but obviously there was a much greater time lapse between the original series and then the movies. And now there's a huge time lapse between TNG of 1987 to 1994 to now 2023. So I'm okay with that. I think the TNG movies were 7 out of 10s compared to the TV show that was like a 10 or a 9 out of 10. But hey, whatever. I'll take a 7 out of 10 fifth movie if it's better than Picard season 1, 2, and the other stuff. Seven looks awesome in her outfit. I know I'm going to try to be quicker and let this play. I know I'm rambling on. I'm going to fill this with commentary. Riker looks great. I love the uniform. I love that the uniform is so, true to the old style with a new style look. One of my only other complaints is that Picard's always in all black. He almost is dressed like the evil Picard from the alternate Q universe of season 2, which I find kind of funny. That he looks like the evil Picard, like in all black. I wish Picard was wearing more of maybe a full-on maroon or red or like a red sweater with a black shirt, something to sort of give some kind of color to Patrick Stewart here. He's always in such dark black colors, and I don't really like that, but that's just a visual thing, not a big deal. And hell, I love black. I would wear black myself. I just don't picture Captain Picard wearing black so much. And he always wore these bright blues and like different color blues and teals and whites. When he was out of browns, when he was out of clothes on TNG, out of uniform, but whatever.
And Captain on the bridge.
You will probably find this inspection boring for the likes of you two.
Boring?
Well, we won't be blowing things up. Taking or engaging in fire, crash landing expectedly or unexpectedly.
Those were the days.
This scene has caused a lot of controversy. I actually love this opening. I love this opening because, and listen, guys, I've been a hater. I have hated on so many people. I really don't like the cast of Picard seasons 1 and 2. I don't like them. I like this guy as this captain already. I already like this guy. First of all, he's a big Star Trek fan, but either way, I like him. And when he says we won't be blowing things up, people are like, that's not what they did on Star Trek The Next Generation. They didn't just blow shit up. I know that, but they did in the movies. And that's what that guy's referring to. He's like, dude, you destroyed the Enterprise D. The other Enterprise was destroyed and crashed into. Things blew up. You guys have been involved in some craziness. These guys have a crazy history, and they're coming on to my Titan now, for some inspection. I was like, this must be boring for you guys. He's kind of being sarcastic here. But there was a guy who went off on a rant the other day about this scene, and he was unhappy. Listen to this.
Hang on. I don't know. Oh, come on.
This guy's hilarious.
So, alright. So this guy's saying, basically, you're not going to be happy on this voyage because we're not going to be blowing shit up because that's obviously all you did on the Enterprise when you were in charge. It's like, no, they didn't. Star Trek, especially Next Generation, there wasn't really that much blowing shit up, you dumb motherfucker. Like, the best episodes of Next Generation are the ones where there were barely any fighting. The flute fucking episode? That was a fantastic episode. Not one fucking thing blew up.
The flute fucking episode. Dude, the fucking flute episode. Dude, this guy is killing me, bro.
Charge. It's like, no, they didn't. Star Trek, especially Next Generation, there wasn't really that much blowing shit up, you dumb motherfucker.
The fucking flute episode. So I agree with him. Star Trek The Next Generation was mostly about the not blowing things up stuff. You know what I mean? The best stories of Star Trek The Next Generation were not blowing things up. I agree with him. However, this is in context of the movies. So even though, this guy is right that TNG, the TV series, mainly focused on bigger stories than just blowing things up and stuff like that, they did blow things up. They blew things up on the TV series, but mainly they blew things up in the movies. And that is what, we're here talking about. This is essentially the 5th movie. So in the 4th movie, they crashed the Enterprise into the Scimitar and smashed it into bits, into shit, right? And blew the hell out of it. In Insurrection, they blew up that gigantic thing that was converting the stuff with Ruafo on it. In Star Trek First Contact, they blew up tons of ships. They blew up the Borg cube. They went back in time and blew up another Borg cube. Then, in Star Trek Generations, they blew up the Enterprise D. They crash landed it on a planet, destroying it. So, and those are the last things that happened before the TV series. So if this captain is sitting there looking at the history of Riker and Picard, and he's like going through everything, he's not going to sit there and be like, oh, remember that time where you came into an alien space probe and then lived an entire life, and then you learn to play the flute and stuff like. It's like, you know, the stuff that's gonna stand out right away is, wow, your last ship, you know, that was destroyed. Like, all your ships were destroyed and shit. Like, holy hell, man, the Stargazer stuff, like all the way back. He's like, damn, man, you guys are gonna be bored on the Titan right now, because, you know. So you know what I'm saying? But I also think he's being a bit sarcastic, almost kind of treating Picard and Riker a bit like, you guys, like, what was wrong with you guys? You know what I mean? Like, what the hell? Now, I also don't like how Picard sometimes is treated like he's some kind of crazy Kirk or crazy sort of dangerous, like, goes against all the rules guy, because that's not what Picard really was. But in the movies, he is a little bit. But again, that's the problem with the TNG movies versus the TNG show. The TNG TV show, Patrick Stewart was by the book. But in the movies, he's like, I'm a renegade. And now it's like seen like, oh, you're Picard, you're crazy, you'll do anything. We know how you break the rules. And it's like, Picard isn't like that usually. That's Kirk, maybe. But anyway, I think it's a lot to do about nothing. I think this scene is funny. I think this makes sense. The last 4 movies, like I said, have involved crazy shit. So that's what this guy's talking about. So you don't have to get up in arms that that's not what TNG was about. I'm already in agreement with you that the movies derived from the TV show quite a bit. But that's what we're working with now in this situation. Oh, shit, my microphone's jacked up. So anyway, I'm defending sort of the writers and Terry Matalas and season 3 already, even though I haven't seen it. Could be garbage like the other 2 seasons. And why am I not doing this on my big main channel with 70-something thousand subscribers? It's because I just feel like keeping that stuff separate from this, you know. But I will advertise Picard season 3 potentially, if it's good, on my main channel constantly. But anyway, let's get back to this review, because we're only 17 seconds in of a 3-minute trailer, and I could babble all day. But I like this guy playing this captain.
For the likes of you two.
Boring?
Well, we won't be
Oh,
blowing.
he was in 12 Monkeys also. He was great in that. So that, he's good in 12 Monkeys.
Well, we won't be blowing things up. Taking or engaging in fire, crash landing expectedly or unexpectedly.
Those were the days.
And then people there are like, those were the days. What the hell is he talking about? Well, this is out of context. So you don't know what he's saying those were the days to. The captain is walking away here. So maybe he said, if you excuse me, gentlemen, I have to go do a crew evaluation, or I have to go, marry somebody, or whatever. There's a marriage going on, or whatever the case is. He said something, and Picard's looking at Riker like, remember that? Yeah, no, those are the days. He's not saying those were the days to like, remember when we used to blow everything up and it was dark? That was great. So people are kind of leaping to that, and I understand why. It's because of the bad faith of Star Trek Discovery, which I find miserable. And of course, Picard season 1 and 2 are absolutely just disastrous. But I'm still not going to hate on this, because I don't think that's what this is yet. I'll wait to see it. I like this shot, too, behind the captains in the lift. I guess Admiral and Captain. It's hard to tell what everybody is anymore.
There is something coming.
Battle stations.
Some kind of attack.
Unfortunately, because they made the Discovery Bridge so gigantic and ridiculous, now this bridge is also big, but everything looks, whatever.
Starfleet could be the target.
Ships look awesome there, by the way. The Enterprise, I believe that's the Enterprise F right there. Not a big fan of the Enterprise F. You know what I mean? I mean, it looks pretty cool and stuff. That it just almost reminds me of like not the Enterprise, but like that looks like the, I don't know, like the Eclipse, the Eclipse, the other ship. It doesn't really look like an Enterprise to me. It's close though. I guess it is, but
Battle station.
I'm happy for the Star Trek Online people that they get to see it like that. But I'm really looking forward to the Enterprise G. That's what I want to see, is the Enterprise G.
Some kind of attack. And Starfleet could be the target.
You got Worf there, great voiceover. Worf sounds awesome. I love trailers like this that are ominous and dark, and there's a bad guy. I just like that. We've been failed by them before, a little bit in Nemesis, and definitely in Star Trek Into Darkness. This feels like Star Trek Into Darkness, so I hope it's better than that, though.
All-consuming darkness.
Deanna talking about an all-consuming darkness. What is the all-consuming darkness? Is this the mirror universe? I made a joke that Skin of Evil, that the bad guy from Skin of Evil got a hold of a ship and he's out to kill everybody since they marooned him on the planet or whatever they did. Armis. I always thought that'd be funny if it was Armis trying to kill everybody. But it could be the mirror universe. Everything's dark. It's very strange. They've never done mirror universe in TNG before. I don't love the mirror universe episodes, and I'm going to say something nice about Star Trek Discovery. This is going to blow your minds, but I'm going to say this. I don't really like the mirror universe stuff in any Star Trek, but I always found it somewhat interesting, you know, that there's this alternate universes and also this particular one with the Terrans and stuff like that. And so when Star Trek Discovery did what they did in the first season, I all of a sudden became interested. I didn't like anything else. I hate Michael Burnham. Not because she's a woman and not because she's not a white woman, but just because her character sucks. You know, I think the actress Sonequa Martin Green or whatever, too many names, Bobby Joe, Matthew Sue, Bobby Sue, whatever, Sonequa Martin, whatever her name is. I love her as an actress. I think she's a really good actress, but I don't like her character at all. I hate it. But that ending where they did the mirror spin and they got into the mirror universe and then what happened with Lorca, I thought that was awesome. That was one of the biggest swerves and one of the best setups I've ever seen in any television show. Isn't that crazy? In Star Trek Discovery, a show that I think is almost trash, it was somewhat saved by the last 5 or 6 episodes because that reveal and what they did, if you know Star Trek, and now if you don't know Star Trek, it's not that impactful if you're not a Star Trek fan. But if you're a Star Trek fan of all the other series and you've seen the mirror universe, what goes on, and then they did that there, it's actually really cool. And I would say that, I don't know, man, it's one of the best sort of surprises I've seen in a TV show and a payoff for someone who knows all the mirror universe stuff. So that's the one nice thing I'll say about Discovery. Seriously. And I like Saru as well. I also like the Doctor. The Doctor, and then they kill the Doctor. Thanks. I like the dude, hello. You know what people always say about me when I say I don't like Discovery? They're like, oh, you must be a racist, or you must be, Didn't you know Star Trek was always progressive? Yeah, dickhead. I've been watching it since I was 5 in 1987. And guess what? One of my favorite things on Star Trek Discovery was the Doctor and Stamets's relationship. I actually like them as a gay couple. I don't care about people's relationships that much, but I actually bought theirs. And I like the Doctor. I thought he was a good doctor. And then but magic, he's back, guys. Like, ridiculous. It's just stupid as hell. I'm sorry, this is about Picard, and I'm going off on a rant. Anyway, that's why I don't like Discovery. Let's continue watching Picard.
It is getting stronger.
Raffi shoots something in her eye there. What is it? Is it the mirror universe? Is she shooting the stuff in her eyes that Lorca needs to put in her eyes to keep the light out because she's in a mirror universe? And Raffi this whole time is actually a psycho from the mirror universe, and that's why she's a drug addict weirdo person, and why she doesn't seem to fit in this universe at all. Like she lives in a homeless trailer park in a utopian future. Why does she live in a homeless trailer park? So is it because she's doing something, or is she just taking some kind of a disguise, a shot to give her a disguise or something on the planet she's on? And it has nothing to do with anything. Or is she doing drugs? I don't know.
Jean-Luc, trust no one.
Trust no one, because maybe these people are all imposters and there's a mirror universe incursion going on. And this is why I almost wish that I could just watch the series without having to see these trailers and keep breaking them down, because I feel like if any of this comes true or doesn't come true, there's a possibility that I'll have spoiled it for myself, or that I'll be completely wrong and I won't like the real thing that's going on as much as what I'm thinking about. So I hate that we have to keep watching trailers in a way. I wish the show would just drop now. I would rather pay 3 months to watch it up front. I don't know why. That's me, though. I love Crusher. I love Beverly. I always loved her. I'm so glad that we get to see her doing stuff in this.
Jean-Luc Picard.
awesome shot right there. Obviously, there's going to be some kind of surprising reveal on the view screen or something here, it looks like.
We will have vengeance.
You and I have traveled to the far reaches of space. But something's different now. This is the end, my friend.
That's a weirdly ominous line by Riker to say, "This is the end, my friend." Like, that makes me almost think that that's not Riker, or that's a different Riker. You know, it's almost like him saying this is the end when it's not, and he's actually the bad guy or something. That doesn't seem... There's a couple of times where Riker almost feels like he might not be Riker. Is it Mirror Universe Riker? Is it the copy Riker? Remember, there's a clone of Riker. Isn't he on a planet punished for what he did on Deep Space Nine? It's like, dude, so I don't know what's going on here. But again, something's off about Riker. Or you know, it's almost like Picard's going to be with Riker going off to figure this out with Beverly. But then in the end, he's going to get like double-crossed by Riker because it's not really Riker. You know, it's very weird. I don't know. Could be, I might be overthinking things. Final voyage begins. Hey, remember Star Trek Nemesis in 2002, 2003, when they said a generation's final voyage? It's back again. It's another final voyage. By the way, Star Trek Nemesis makes you think that's the mirror universe. If you watch the trailer for Star Trek Nemesis, they're like, for every equal, there's an opposite in the universe. And they show 2 Datas, 2 Picards, and blah, blah. And I was like, oh, shit, they're doing the mirror universe. That's what I thought Nemesis was. And then it wasn't. It was just a Picard clone, and Data found B4. So I remember being disappointed in the theater about that. Like, oh, this wasn't the movie I thought it was at all. Now, here's Geordi. He looks mad. Why does Geordi look mad? And I don't like that. It's like, I want Geordi and Picard to just get along. Geordi, like, always respected Picard, you know? And so seeing him kind of grumpy here gives me worry. Geordi. Tell Commander Geordi, let number 1 take a number 2 on me, Geordi. I like how Beverly, like, she doesn't look right with a weapon, because she's a doctor, not a... Damn it, I'm a doctor, not a soldier. But she looks like, you know, she has to do this. Like, she's defending herself against something, but she's not 100% like a badass or something like that. You know, stupid like they would do in new movies. Like, the women have to be awesome. Like, it's like, but she looks like reluctantly she has to defend herself here. Someone's breaking in, whatever. Riker looks ominous here. He just maybe this is just the way I always think Frakes looks now. Love it. Love seeing Riker. Love seeing Frakes reprise this role. He was the best part of Picard season 1 almost. This looks like they're trying to get into Moriarty's solitude or wherever they've locked Moriarty away.
Such pathetic old warriors. I too was once irrational, violent.
I love that they sort of bring up Raffi as irrational and violent, right? She's like one of the worst characters in Star Trek. However, the actress Michelle Hurd is awesome. Like, I hate her character. I want to see her character fall down a shaft and get, like, sat on. But, like, if she somehow redeems herself and becomes a better person in this, and she's not a Mirror Universe person, then that'd be nice, you know what I mean? But I also like that Worf is acknowledging it, too. Like, you know, yeah, I was once irrational and violent and ridiculous. And Worf kind of was sometimes. If you go back and watch TNG, he's always like, let's fight. He's like, we should shoot them first. Like, Worf is always trying to shoot first and stuff. Despite, like, you know what I mean? The way human nature and humanity has evolved. Everyone has evolved, but Worf is still a Klingon, and he still has these violent tendencies that he has to battle through. You know, so, like, that's what I like that. This almost in a way can save Raffi's character a bit, maybe.
I too was
because I hate it.
Irrational, violent.
Phenomenal shot of the ship there. This is awesome. Like, dude, I mean, check my pants. Oh! Dude, there's a stain in my pants right now.
Is anybody you know still the person you knew?
And there's another line that makes you think, like, because number one, either way, you're like, oh no, these characters aren't going to like each other anymore. Is that what that guy's saying? Or is he talking about the fact that they really aren't the people that Picard knew because there's a mirror universe incursion going on?
Still the person you knew.
And if that's the case, wow, that's interesting. Also, this is the guy that I guess maybe could be Picard's son. That's what they're saying. I don't really like that rumor. I actually kind of hate the rumor because it's like, why would Picard have a son? I'm sure if it's explained really well, then awesome. But I never was a big fan of Kirk having a son either when back in the day. But it made sense because Kirk was like hooking up with everyone everywhere. And it made sense that he was he had duty came first and he didn't really care as much. And, he finds out he has a son. And that seems to be somewhat similar here. But, Picard is a much more responsible person. Way more responsible, and I just don't see that unless it's being done against his will. Like, for some reason, maybe Beverly had to clone him, or maybe she had to have him in some way, or some clone, or there was a reason why he's here, and Picard's going to be upset that Beverly did this, but she had to for a reason. I don't know. Or it's not his son, and that's not even a thing, and that's just a big rumor. I don't know. I don't know. I just hope it's not stupid. That's all.
Is anybody you know still the person you knew?
He's got an English accent, but why would he have an English accent if he's with Beverly, who doesn't have one? But who cares? It's Star Trek. You know what I mean? I can overlook that. Just like you could have made Data or B4 be old with the paint on, and it wouldn't have bothered me. I know that some people, it would bother you. I can look past it. If Brent Spiner is acting as Data and he's dressed up like Data and he looks old though, I can overlook it. I really can. I can look past it and just say, yeah, whatever, he's playing the character. I don't have a problem with it. You know what I mean? And also, too, in Star Trek The Next Generation, the last episode, All Good Things, in the future, Data has a big white stripe across his head, and he was like, I wanted to add some age to myself or whatever. Well, I mean, lore, and that can be explained the same way. Like, I figured it would add to, in my quest to be more human, I thought it would add a little bit of, I don't know, gravitas or familiarity, to all the people who know me, I'm lore. But you know something? As soon as everybody who's ever known me is dead, I'll go back to being young again. And I'll just do it all over again. Because I'm going to live forever, unlike you weak humans. Like that sort of thing. Whatever. Or maybe he's like, I borrowed someone's skin. Or like, I did what my brother never could do. Become as human as possible. I get to pick and choose all the great things. Love, anger, passion, pleasure. That's my favorite emotion. And you know what gives me pleasure, Captain? Your suffering. Those type of things. Lore can do all kinds of things like that. Whatever it is. I still remember the first season, and when Lore says to, I think, Wesley or something, he's like, are you prepared for the death that, that you're going to be experiencing, little man, or something like that? Something like that to Wesley, and it's really funny. It really scared me as a kid, too, for some reason. Anyway, let's go. Picard looking like a general out of the Mirror Universe. I'm telling you, man, it looks weird.
This is life or death.
It's always life or death, Jean-Luc.
Not a big fan of that type of line. Like, it's always life or death. Like, I mean, I guess it was. How can you argue? I guess people are just kind of tired of, like, all anybody remembers is life or death and fight and kill and blow up and destroy and worlds ending. And, like, that's all people remember. I think that the fans are just kind of annoyed by that. They want them to remember, like, the family and the fun journeys they had and all the crazy, anomalies in space and things that they did and united people. And the times they had together, those sort of things. They don't necessarily want you to be always thinking about, like, it's always life or death. It's always destruction. We blow it up and fire. So, like, I get it. But this is a trailer. And in the trailer, we want to be over dramatic as much as we can. So, you know, I just hope Geordi isn't as antagonistic as he comes off in this trailer. I love the engineer Geordi who's smart. And I know that now Geordi's moved his way to captain maybe and then to Commodore. And he's sort of, you know, he's become his own man and a very strong individual on his own. And remember, in All Good Things, they did treat Picard a bit like an old daughter, like, or whatever you call it, like an old, just, like, they did a little bit. You know, Geordi was checking in on him. But Geordi called him captain, too, when he checked in on him. Now he calls him Jean-Luc. But, you know, but a lot of people did. They were like, you know, captain, you know, you're old now, and, you know, we're now I'm a captain and you're the old cap. So they kind of did treat him a bit like that in the show in All Good Things. And I know All Good Things isn't necessarily canon. It's sort of an alternate what if that Q created, but still, you know, you can sort of understand how at a certain age Picard would start to be treated with more like a little bit. You treat old people sometimes a little bit more like carefully or like a kid a bit. It happens. And then you're now in charge, you know, and that's sort of what you see a little bit, I think, in this. But I just hope that Picard isn't treated all the time like this rogue guy where terrible danger follows him everywhere. It's like, what? You know, I don't get that.
This is life or death.
It's always life or death, Jean-Luc. When has it not been?
Well, when you're just making ships and working on an engine, but I guess it could blow up. That nacelle or whatever just happened, that explosion, that's sick. Bro, have you ever seen something like that in such detail? What? Dude, zoom in on that, bro. Zoom in on that. Wow. And then everybody's making a big deal out of this because Picard does, like, the face palm.
Each ticking.
You know, but, you know, I believe in the episode when he did the face palm, it was more of a comedy thing. You know what I mean? Like, somebody was doing something goofy and he was like, oh, God. You know, this looks very serious. So it's not really but hey, they got it in there. I don't know if they meant to, though, or this is on purpose, but that's a big meme for a lot of people that don't know Star Trek now.
Moment.
They know that meme.
I will take each.
I love Amanda Plummer. Man, she sounds awesome. I thought that, you know, that Benedict Cumberbatch sounded awesome as Khan in Star Trek Into Darkness. That movie turned out to be kind of crap. I thought Tom Hardy sounded pretty awesome in Nemesis as the bad guy in the trailers. But I do think that Amanda Plummer sounds like kind of unhinged here a little bit. I like it. I like the trailer of it.
With each ticking moment, I will take another piece of you.
Battle stations! Jean-Luc!
Survival. It's human nature, pal. We fight or we die.
Gun it!
Again, another line that I think people like are annoyed with, like, we fight or we die. It's like very just dark to some people. Aren't happy with that. I like the bridge. I like the hallways. I like the corridors.
I need you. All of you.
It's too bad Data can't be at that table, but that's awesome.
With you. Always.
Engage.
They reveal the logo. Then we have a little fun part here at the end.
Will, are you enjoying this? Of course not. Are you?
So anyway, like I thought the trailer was. I thought it was pretty cool. Like the trailers can be really cool, and then the show can be terrible. Like I thought Picard season 1, the trailer was pretty cool. Like I was like, all right, that looks pretty cool. Let's see what happens. Then I watched the opening scene with Data and Picard, and I really loved it. I loved the opening scene. Now allegedly they got 10 forward wrong on the ship, but it was a dream sequence, so like whatever. But I loved the interaction, and then from there the show just progressively got worse. Same thing with season 2. So let's hope that this is third time's a charm, because I have like, if I could pay money to have Picard's mother hanging herself and some of that stuff, if I could just have it extracted from my memory and then tell myself never watch seasons 1 and 2, I would do it. And I wish that I could go to Paramount and have them edit just some of the best scenes from Picard season 1 and 2. Just edit some of the scenes. Like John Delancey, a couple of scenes from that. Maybe the opening scene in Picard season 1, and then the Riker scene at the end. And just edit it into 8 minutes. And then just make that Picard season 1 and 2. 8 minutes, because that's all that was good. And be like, cool. Riker shows up. That's awesome. And then skip the robot Picard stuff. If I could just erase that from my memory. I know people that won't watch this because they feel that he's a robot. I hate this. I'm not watching. So they ruined it for a lot of people. Nobody will ever watch. Some of those people will never watch this. They're like, nope. I know multiple people. And now I know a couple of those people probably end up watching this. And if it's good, and they can just pretend season 1 and 2 don't exist, because that's what I'm going to do. If this is good, if this is a 6 or 7, at least a 7, hopefully. If this is a 7 out of 10 thing, I will buy it on Blu-ray, and I'll never buy the other 2 seasons, and I'll pretend this is the next movie, and that's it. I will literally treat the other stuff like it doesn't exist. Overall, the trailers are good. They're dark. I think they may misrepresent a bit, like, there's a lot of depth maybe in conversations that we're not getting, obviously, in the trailers. And hopefully that's the case. And the trailers were definitely made to be action and crazy and like, let's go. But that's not necessarily what the series is like. But then again, I don't